Hello, everyone. Welcome to Nails and Beauty Talk, NFTs, Crypto, and Web3. I'm your host, Asia the Bird. To have two wonderful special guests with me today. They're the creators of Metamoms. Please welcome Ryan Teal and Noelle Marie. Hello, and welcome to the show to you both.
Hello, hello. Thank you for having us.
Yes. You are most welcome. So I want to go ahead and kick off this interview by asking you both, where are you both from and how'd you get started in NFTs, Crypto, and Web3?
Yeah, so I'll go ahead while I have a minute, free of crying. But so I am originally from Northeast Ohio, but I live in the Columbus area now here in Central Ohio, and got started in Web3 and NFTs. Just here, you keep hearing this buzzword, NFTs, Web3, and it's like, what the heck is this? And like, is it a scam or can I be a millionaire tomorrow? So it was just digging in further and further to figure out what this truly was. Didn't even realize that NFTs translated to Web3 and a new revolutionary internet that we have never seen before. Right. So that's really exciting. And that's kind of what drove that passion, was just like, wow, we have an opportunity to be a part of something great, especially as women, that we've never had the opportunity to do before. So just started self-educating and really reading everything and anything that I could to understand what the space truly was about.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Noelle?
Oh gosh. I feel like there's a lot to unpack with that question, but I'll keep it simple. Ryan introduced me to, I heard a little bit of NFTs here and there because I'm a freelance artist and I am in the art, community, and you see a lot of other artists and people getting into it, but it was nothing that I really took seriously. And then Ryan started sending me some links and other projects to take a look at. And she was like, hey, you're an artist. You should definitely get into this. And I'm like, that's not for me. No, thank you. That seems like a lot of work. So yeah, I think once I got my mind out of that comfortability of staying within the same thing that I was already doing really well, I'm like, what? I've never said no to a really amazing opportunity. And this sounds like an amazing opportunity to evolve and grow as an artist. And I'm really glad that I did, because it's sparked different aspects of myself that, in all honesty, I was hiding, different talents within, what I already do best. It kind of really sparked that passion that I already thought I had for art, but now it's like this whole new realm that's opened up for me. So yeah, for me, it's just everything that Ryan introduced me to. It was kind of start from the start. It was just take little baby steps, educate ourselves, not necessarily be overwhelmed by what's happening, because it's such a new space. And we came from zero. We didn't know anything about it. But we've done really well. I mean, taking it little by little, in chunks sometimes, which is a little hard to digest, but we've learned that even in those moments, this Web3 space has an amazing community. People are so willing to connect with you and help you and assist you through the process. So unlike any other industry, especially the Web2 art industry that I'm, from, it's a breath of fresh air for me. So yeah, that's my take on it.
That's really, really cool. Now, Noelle, real quick, are you self-taught in art? Did you go to art school? How'd you get started into art?
Yes, I am a self-taught artist. I went to Kent State University and I attempted to take art classes there, but I'm not sure whether it was just the professors or me. I like to place the blame outside of the realm of who I am. But I failed every single art class that I took. I just don't know what kind of was I don't even know what to say, was the issue. I just did not mesh and gel with college in general. And I think that was the indication of you should be doing something for yourself. So when I was in college, I actually started my own freelance company. And from there, it was just one commission after the next. And I learned from, each experience, and it kind of added to my repertoire. So, in an essence, I did have some sort of like education when it came to art, and learning different aspects of, what art is and history and different techniques and such. But for the most part, yes, I am self-taught.
Awesome. That's really great. Now I want to get into the Metamoms NFTs. So tell us about this project, how it came about, and like, what's the whole mission behind it?
Metamoms really came about. I think I mentioned it to you earlier when we first got on, but the name itself just kind of came about. I had a dream one time that was my screen name. It wasn't anything that had to do with NFTs. So I was like, you know what? We're both moms. Like there might be something to that, and just didn't know what that really looked like. And even when I talked to Noelle about NFTs, I still, didn't put those together. So just over time, it kind of developed into this like, hey, well, we see all these other projects out there and there's so few women in this space, and, let's get moms like us on board with this and let's inspire them. And there's no reason that they can't also self-educate and we can't bring them along for this journey to really empower them and make them feel like they can be part of shaping the internet and be part of this technology revolution that we're on the forefront of right now. So because we felt that in ourselves and we were really seeing that passion come out, we're like, surely there's other people that would benefit from this and that just maybe don't know that now we can reach through building our community and through just having these kind of conversations to bring them along the way with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, how important is it in terms of including women in the NFT and Web3 space? Anybody can start with that question.
Oh, I love this question. For me, the history of, I'll give you a little background. So I'm a Reiki master, and a lot of, my own self-development has been spiritually based. And what I've learned is there's a lot of trauma that people hold on to, especially around the topic of being a woman. What is asked of you, what society deems necessary or unnecessary. And there's really a negative and toxic connotation to being a woman in general. And within this like Web3 space, we found that it just like, it's a breath of fresh air. These women are in here and they're like, you know what, this is our opportunity to start anew, to start fresh. And for us, it was the same thing. It was like, well, we want to be here. We don't know exactly what it is that we're going to do. And we don't want to bottle ourselves into one specific thing. We want to kind of like open the door and say, whatever the universe has for us, and be open to a million possibilities if that's what comes. And that's what we're encouraging other women to see is right now, this is the opportunity for you to, even one little step, join a Discord, get into Twitter spaces, listen to these communications, because that's where we started. We had, started Metamoms, but the first real taste of getting into the community was us listening to other women, and giving that like empathetic space for other women to know what their experiences were so that we could see how we fit within that community. And you'll find that, everybody's vulnerable and everybody is sharing that same voice of, we're just a little tired of everything that has already occurred in Web 1 and Web 2. And now this is our opportunity to be that voice and to be that platform, not only for ourselves, but for other women, and to help spread this wave of empowerment and this like whole new force that needs to happen worldwide, not even in one community. It's a worldwide thing that needs to happen. And women just need to, have that confidence to say, yes, I want to be involved, and just band together, join little communities, and the world is your oyster. You can go from there.
Right, exactly. Anything you want to add to that, Ryan?
No, she's spot on. And I knew that she would love that question. So no, absolutely. I agree with everything she said.
Cool. Now, in terms of NFTs, like what is an NFT and how does one get started getting into NFTs? What are some of the things that someone should understand before getting into NFTs?
Yeah, I think with NFTs, so it means, and you can look this up by Googling it, but what does that truly mean when you see non-fungible token? What the heck is that? So when something's fungible, so the opposite of that, it would be interchangeable for another equal thing. So like $1 for your $1, we could exchange those and they're fungible. Non-fungible means they're not two equal things. So like a front row seat to a concert and a back row seat, those two cannot be exchanged for the equal value. And that's what NFTs are. They're uniquely yours, and they are stored on the blockchain. So you have to first understand what the blockchain is. And I'm not technical, so that doesn't need to be overwhelming. You just have to understand it's a ledger of information out there, with recorded transactions that can't be changed, can't be cheated, can't be, fraudulent in any way, can't be reversed. But that's what an NFT is. So it's tied to a smart contract, which that's another conversation. But essentially, anything that's in real life paper contract today will eventually exist on the blockchain in the form of a smart contract. And the way that we would purchase those or do business would be through an NFT. But right now, people know them as the pictures that you see, the digital monkeys, the robots, all the dogs, all the things. That's what you're seeing right now. And that's just one use case for an NFT. So you think about gaming. So I don't know if you're a gamer or if you know any, but you can buy things in video games. I'm not, so, but you can buy things in video games like weapons or skins. So what happens if you decide, hey, I'm 52 years old, I probably shouldn't be playing video games anymore, I'm going to quit this. All those purchases that you've made, they belong to the game developers. Like, you don't get that money back. With NFTs, that totally changes. Just, the gaming industry as one example. So if you decide I don't want to play this game anymore, you can go sell all those things that you bought previously, and you can sell them as NFTs. It also changes what we hear about more often is the art industry. So right now, if I want to use a logo or if I want to use a cartoon image for something, all I do is go to Google Images, right click and save it, and it's mine. And whoever created that never receives that credit for it. So Web3 changes that, and Web3 and NFTs are kind of, they're two different things, but we can use them together. It's a way for people to take the power back from these big tech companies like Google and Facebook and all of those companies that use our information and monetize it. So now with NFTs, Noel or you or whoever wants to develop something, a logo, an image, whatever, art that you could use, as a profile picture, whatever, that can be tracked and traced back to who originally created it, and they can be paid for what they've created. So that's what NFTs are. How you get started, though, is another conversation. But the first kind of bit of advice that I have is to not just jump into it, to find that like trusted person that, you can go to them with questions and they'll have answers. Find, like I mentioned, Gary Vee to you earlier. He's a great resource for this. But you got to do your own research first before you spend your actual money just buying stuff, because that's a really quick way to lose your money fast if you don't know what you're doing. And there are scams out there, unfortunately. And I think that gives the scams out there, give NFTs a bad name. There's always going to be scams or scams with any industry, and those will always exist. But what is unique about NFTs is the technology is revolutionary. So regardless of the scams, when those are gone, when those people get arrested, whatever happens with those, that the technology is what's game changing. But yeah, it's do your own research and find somebody that you can really trust before you spend your money. And there's free education out there. There's courses that you can take that are, we offer one. We've got one coming up June 17th. So we talk about how to get started in NFT basics in a really non-intimidating way, just like we're having a conversation right now. Requires no previous knowledge, because I think people get intimidated by that sometimes, and we understand that because we've been there.
Yeah, right, exactly. And I'm new to NFT, so I'm still learning about the whole space, especially with Web3 and stuff. And I thought to myself, like, because I started learning about NFTs in Clubhouse, so I thought like, wow, am I too late? Is this like, I don't know how new this is, but NFTs and Web3 and the metaverse is still pretty new. So it's really never too late. And it goes like how you were saying, it's never too late to learn and just take your time doing it.
Yeah, that's the thing too, is we sometimes have to remind ourselves, like, this is so early, but it doesn't feel like it for us because we are following anybody and everybody that we can on social media that's all NFTs all day, every day. So it's everywhere around us. But that's just because it was very intentional that we started doing those things. Right. But it's still, we're like in the, small percentage of people that are even understanding like remotely what this technology is. So yeah, it's still very early and we still have a really big opportunity. I think, kind of the first big collection came out about 2017. So in that sense, yeah, we might be a little bit behind, but every day there's changes. This moves so quickly. And the only way you'll be left behind is if you don't at least listen to something and read about something and self-educate a little bit. And you don't have to be an expert. There are no experts because it's so new. So that's kind of the cool part is there's no rules and there's no experts, and you can become that, if you just kind of take that first step.
Right, exactly. Now I hear this whole phrase of like, when people have NFT collections or NFTs, they say they're minting an NFT. So what does that mean to mint an NFT?
Ryan, do you want to answer that one?
Yeah, I will. I got a really simple explanation because that's, you hear this jargon and these terms and people get confused, and that's where they get overwhelmed first and foremost. But minting just means you're putting it on the blockchain for the very first time. So that means it's never had a transaction record. It's never been traceable before. It's never had a true owner before. This is the very first time it's ever existed.
All right. Now, what are some of the best platforms to sell NFTs? Especially, how does one open up a crypto wallet?
Yeah, so there's a couple kind of big players with the digital wallets right now. Both have their pros and cons. Metamask is a really big one right now that everybody likes to use. There's a couple out there that I really don't understand the nuances of. So just, kind of be wary of that there's always new players in the game. So just go with one that's trusted and that you kind of resonate with. Coinbase does have a wallet option as well, which most people know what Coinbase is already. I like that one just because it's very user friendly. So you would go through, it takes like 2 minutes or less to set up a digital wallet on Coinbase. But in terms of actually purchasing an NFT, I had that very same question, like, where the heck would I even start with this? Where do I see one of these things? What is this? OpenSea, so that's the word open, SEA.io right now is probably the largest platform for NFT marketplaces. That is changing. So there are people that are seeing, kind of some of the faults of OpenSea, and new platforms are coming out all the time. But the highest level of trading is happening on OpenSea right now. Another one would be Rarible. That's kind of the second biggest player in the game. So OpenSea, very user friendly though. I think it's pretty simple to use once you've done it once or twice and you get in there and start, playing around with it. That's something else that you can find in intro to NFTs class, and they'll kind of walk you through how to read the stuff on OpenSea. Because even going to a homepage and getting in there and truly understanding what you're looking at takes a little bit of self-education. But once you get it, it's like, it's easy to get to understand.
Okay, cool. Now, in terms of the security, how does one keep their NFT secure? And what is a seed phrase?
Yeah, so anytime you set up a digital wallet, you'll be assigned a unique 12-word passcode, the seed phrase that you're talking about. That cannot be shared with anybody at all, because if you share it with somebody, they can compromise your entire wallet, take your NFTs, take your money. So that is something that you are the only person that knows that. So you got to write it down, keep it in a safe place. And what was the other question you asked? I'm sorry, I was on seed phrase.
How do you keep your NFT?
How you keep them secure? That's right. Yeah. So that being first and foremost, and then don't share. This goes for bank accounts or anything else too. Don't share passwords. Don't share any of your unique credentials or anything that's personal to you. Don't share that with anybody. And also there's some pretty shady websites out there too. So you don't want to go hooking up your digital wallet to some website that you truly don't know who the owner is and don't trust. So some people will get in the habit of having multiple digital wallets too. One that maybe you connect to websites and one that maybe you store your NFTs in. So there's a lot of best practices out there, but those would be probably top two.
Okay. All right. So do you know the difference between Ethereum and Solana? What's the difference between those two cryptocurrencies possibly?
Yeah. So everybody knows one, Bitcoin, and then kind of second largest to that would be Ethereum that you mentioned. Both have their pros and cons. I'm not that familiar with Solana because we've dealt only with Ethereum for the most part.
Okay.
But I know Ethereum can only process so many transactions per second. And Solana is a lot faster than that. It can do up to 65,000 per second, I think was the last number I saw. Also, Ethereum has what's known as, all of these have what's known as gas fees. And they're essentially transaction fees for making purchases, for doing anything on the blockchain. Ethereum's got some pretty high gas fees. So that's really one of the drawbacks to anything you do on Ethereum, but it is the most widely accepted right now and the most trusted right now. Like I mentioned, things are changing very, very quickly. So, but then you talk about things like Solana, Polygon, other ones that are up and coming, they have lower transaction fees, but they've got other drawbacks too. So I think this is an area that we're going to continue to see move at lightning speed and others kind of take over where Ethereum's at right now.
Right. And what are gas fees? If you could specify that real quick.
Yeah, so gas fees are essentially a processing fee to record your transaction on the blockchain. And it depends. So what drives the fee, high or low, is dependent on the traffic at that time. So if there's a lot of business going on the Ethereum network during the time that you're selling, buying, whatever, your fee is going to be a lot higher. If there's, maybe it's 2 a.m. and there's not a lot of people on the blockchain at that moment on the network, it's going to be a lower fee.
So in terms of social media, I know a lot of people use Twitter, but they also use Discord. So how did you guys use Discord for your NFT collection?
This is a little bit of a touchy subject for us because the first interview that we ever did, it was interesting because we have been within like the Discord even though we started in December, getting into like, you just know that this is a scammy space, that there's some pretty shady stuff that happens here. So being who we are and the mission that we were, all about, which is onboarding more people and new people into the space, we were like, well, why would we want to onboard people into a toxic environment and potentially a scammy environment where they could maybe blame us, for their mishaps? So in an essence, we've taken our time with Discord. We have a Discord. We're on every social media platform there could possibly be. If there's a new one tomorrow, trust and believe we'll be on it. But we are very patient with ourselves. First and foremost, we're not quick to say 100% on Discord. We're not quick to say 100% on Twitter or anything else. We watch the spaces daily. As far as what we prefer, we love Twitter. We love LinkedIn. Telegram has been wonderful. Our Discord space has been great. I think it's a matter of what project you're involved in and whose space you're in and how they're running it. We've seen a lot of people, even within spaces, and as much as we love Twitter, we've been in some alpha spaces that are just absolutely maniacal, and they just spew out toxicity and they give some pretty shady advice to people, and not necessarily in the sense of looking out for other people's best interest, but that's our mission, is to look out for the best interest of others. And we're not going to sit here and say 100% go for Discord or anything. What we suggest is, take it little by little and check everything out, and then just go with what feels best for you.
Right, exactly. Anything you want to add to that, Ryan?
Yeah, the thing on Discord, everybody we talk to about it, they refer to it as the necessary evil. And it's like that's really what we've been preaching since the beginning. And to get more people into the space and more mass adoption, Discord will have to be obsolete for this space. Like it was brought about because of gamers, essentially, and then has kind of developed and taken over into this NFT space because there's no good alternative. So I see that changing. I know it's very overwhelming, especially if you're already overwhelmed about the content and NFTs and like, what do all these words mean? The last thing you want to do is now have to learn a totally new platform and how to navigate it. And I hope I don't get scammed today. And all of that is just, it didn't feel right to us. So yeah, that's kind of why we've taken that slow. But our thing now is we're just meeting people where they're at. So if you want to DM us on Instagram, you want to talk to us on Twitter, you want to Zoom it, whatever you want to do, we're here, we're available, and we're happy to chat. But we don't like to just stick with one or the other because of that reason. So whatever people feel comfortable with.
All right. Now, in terms of Web3, what is both of your takes of Web3 and where it's headed? Especially you, Noelle, being an artist. Like, what is your whole take in terms of Web3?
I really love what Web3 is right now, because it's like that. We say this all the time. It's the Wild West. You know, it's a brand new, uncharted territory. And it's kind of like you don't necessarily get that opportunity very often. It's like a generational thing, and each generation has like their opportunity that they can jump in on. And right now, I think this is this generation's opportunity to really pay attention to how the space is moving. Even though it is brand new, right now is like that perfect moment for you to educate yourself, to get involved, and really just, you know, go into the art space, see what artists are doing, go into the music space and see what musicians are doing, photographers, and get to know other niches and what other niches are doing, because this is such a new space that sometimes even a small conversation or seeing what other creatives are doing can spark that inspiration within you to say, hey, I like what they're doing, and I might want to, you know, evolve it or change it up a little bit. This is the perfect time, because this is like that. There are no rules, so you can kind of like take an opportunistic approach to it and say, well, I can just create something and make this something new, and other people will probably jump on board, because you never know, the minute that you put something out there and, you know, create a Twitter space, create an Instagram, put yourself out there, and, you know, give yourself that opportunity to make connections and join communities. And I think once you do that, you're going to see that you really do connect with a lot more people than you initially thought you would.
Right. Anything you want to add to that, Ryan?
Yeah, three things. So Web3 has, I've seen it referred to as Bitcoin round two. So if you missed out on the first, you know, time that Bitcoin launched and you're like, oh my gosh, I could have had that for like nothing. So Web3 and NFTs are our second chance. So that's my first thing. The how and why, we could talk about that on another thing. But the second thing is, you don't have to be technical to get involved in NFTs or in Web3, because I know that was my perception, is that I have to be an artist or I have to come from like a developer background. And you don't. Like, if you have a background in marketing, or you're an influencer, or you're an artist or a musician, or like you name it, if you're in the beauty industry, like there is a seat for you at this table. You just have to get involved to know what that is and where you fit in. People are leaving their 9-to-5 jobs to start Web3 companies, to join NFT projects. Like that's real. Like, people think it's all just this illusion and this abstract concept, but it is a real tangible thing that's happening. And then third is, people use kind of NFTs, Web3, and the metaverse interchangeably. So I think it's an important distinction to make, that they all do work together, and they are all involved with each other. But they're three separate things. The metaverse is really, it's going to create a whole new e-commerce experience for us. So think about like your Instagram shops, your Etsy shops, and now it's more immersive, where you can put on a VR headset and you can go shopping in a social environment with people from all around the world that you've never been able to do that with before. That first and foremost is one of those ways. Also from a building a brand, as either a new entrepreneur or companies that already exist, they have to get involved in the metaverse to kind of stay relevant. And it might sound weird right now, but like we were talking about earlier, just like companies had to develop a .com strategy 20 years ago, they have to develop a metaverse strategy to stay relevant, or they're going to be like the Sears of our, the Toys R Us, and they're not going to be relevant anymore. So, but for us as consumers, or for you even in the beauty industry, I mean, you could have a nail salon, you could have an in real life business take over the metaverse, and people could spend real actual money there. So I think those are kind of the three key things to know about when you talk about the metaverse or Web3. Web3 is going to be huge, because you won't have to connect to websites through Facebook, connect to websites through Instagram and all that stuff. It'll be connect wallet, period. That's it. That's all you do. So it's going to be a more inclusive experience, and it's taking the power back is what it is, for creators and for us as consumers.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm still learning about NFTs in the Web3 space. And how I said before we started the interview, how I'm in the beauty industry, and it's not known as much in the beauty industry as it is with like art within music. But it's something I would like to see, like for people to get involved in NFTs. People are into makeup, people are into nails. Like, I'm in the nail sector of the beauty industry. So yeah, I just like how it's going, you know, especially women getting involved, is really, really absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I love what Ryan says, and she says this all the time, and I absolutely love it. You know, about knowing that there's a seat for you at the table.
Right.
But in another sense, I love it because it's like, I'm all about, if there isn't a seat for me, I'm building the damn table. And we're in that building phase of, you know, this is the Wild West, this is uncharted territory. And,
Right.
you know, there really are no rules. So, you know, anybody that's getting into this space that's like, oh, well, there's all these rules. And no, there's not. No, there's not. And if there's a table that you know there isn't a seat for you, build your own table, because trust and believe there is that space for you right now. And just be as opportunistic as possible and take advantage of this moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, what's next for Metamoms? What's next for you both in terms of the project? Is there any any events, any things that you guys are working on in terms of Metamoms?
So right now we are kind of in that finalizing stage of getting our artwork finalized and, you know, crossing T's, dotting I's. I'm not necessarily a perfectionist. Well, I don't like to admit that I'm a perfectionist, but Ryan will be like, I thought that looked good. I'm like, no. Scrap it. Scrap the
Right,
not
right.
to that or degree, but like, yeah, sometimes I have to like take a chill pill and be like, okay, chill out, dude. But yeah, no, I mean, we're really focused on day by day, week by week. We know what's coming and we know what's ahead of us, and that is success and succeeding. So what we like to do is focus on the right now, and not necessarily have that mindset of wanting to control the future or control what the future of Metamoms is, because we want to keep that door open. We make so many new connections. And that's another tidbit of advice for anybody in the space, is like, don't bottle yourself into one niche, or, you know, have an outlook or goal and say, period, end of story, this is exactly what I'm doing. Because the more that you connect with others and the more that you're involved with the community, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, yesterday I thought I was doing this, and today now I want to do this.
Right.
And kind of like veer off into a new opportunity or a new connection. And so right now we are still in that building phase. We're in the finalizing stage of our artwork. And we have, you know, our Ryan does the educational portion. She can touch on that, but in a nutshell, it's just, you know, we're day by day, week by week. And right now, yeah, we're just finalizing our artwork and our minting June 14th. We're going to be releasing 500 NFTs from our collection. So our whitelist is open. That's another thing. We really despise all these barriers and hoops that people have to jump through. Like you hear on these Twitter spaces, these alpha spaces of tweet this and share this and tag this person and, you know, get on this and do that. And it's like, what? I'm so confused. Why is this even necessary? Our whitelist is open. Go to our website. If you really want to be on the whitelist, it's there. It's for everyone. We're all about inclusivity and, you know, bringing down barriers and making things easier for people. So yeah, Ryan, I'm sure she can add to that.
Yeah, no, she's absolutely right. So we're just, you know, continuing to build, but we always will be continuing to build. So, and that's another thing too, that the next event we have coming up is just, we're focusing on education. So bringing as many people along as we can, whether that be through live trainings, one-on-one sessions, Zoom sessions, whatever that looks like for us. But yeah, our next one is 6/17. So anybody that's interested in an introduction can join that.
Awesome. Great. Now, where can people find you both on social media, and how can people support Metamoms?
So we are on every platform. We are on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. What else is there? I'm like having a brain fart. Literally every single platform that you can think of, we're there. And it's very simple. It's just Metamoms NFT. It's all the same across the board. If you second guess that we're on a platform, just type Metamoms in and we're probably there. We're on YouTube. Just connect with us, and we're so open, and we're all about meeting new people and making connections feel free to DM us. We're not like that type of project that's like bougie or, all about, keeping our secrets to ourselves. No,
Right.
we love making connections. We love meeting new people. We're so new to this space. And even though we've evolved so much, and it may look like we've got our stuff together, trust and believe, we're still at building phase. So, all the connections that we can make, we welcome them. And feedback on our project as well, it's welcome. So just reach out to us and don't hesitate to do so.
Awesome. That's really great. Well, thank you so much to you both for jumping onto the show. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and your story. Congratulations on the Metamoms NFTs. It's really, really cool. Like I said, I told Ryan before we started that I discovered you guys on Twitter, and I like what you guys are doing. You guys are about Web3, NFTs, women's empowerment, and getting women involved into the space. So thank you both so much.
Hey, thank you very much. Great meeting you.
Great meeting you
Absolutely.
too.
So much.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hello, everyone. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to click the bell for notifications. Also, follow me on my social media platforms and visit my website, asiaticbird.com, and be on the lookout for more interviews involving Web3, NFTs, crypto, and the metaverse.